For fans of Eugene's hot chicken and owners like Zebby Carney, the last 2 months have felt like a lifetime.
We all felt in these last 8 weeks, you want to get back to work. I think it's important that restaurant owners just don't open too fast.
Starting this week, restaurants across Alabama were given the green light to reopen their dining rooms. So Birmingham put together a task force of restaurateurs like Carney to offer some safe reopening advice.
I think it was great because some of the restaurant owners get an opinion on, how we should reopen the city. So I think that's amazing.
Based on the task force's recommendations, dining in a Birmingham restaurant would look a little bit different. In addition to spacing the tables 6 feet apart, they also recommend that restaurants close off their bar areas and not offer live music to prevent crowds from gathering.
All employees are encouraged to wear masks and head home immediately if they develop any COVID symptoms.
I think they need to be quarantined from 10 to 14 days. And of course, go to the doctor. Because I don't want to get everybody else sick, and I don't want to get our customers sick.
Carney said he is not ready to reopen yet, but hopes those that are take it one step at a time.
I think if we just kind of follow some guidelines that's laid out by the city, I think it'll be, we'll have a safer reopening.
So signs like these can come down for good. In Birmingham, John Papke, WVTM 13.
And you can find a link to the restaurant reopening guidelines on the WVTM 13 app.
As business owners and all Americans struggle with when and how to reopen America's economy, there's a new warning of a potential recession. The head of the Federal Reserve says a severe downturn in the economy is likely due to the pandemic, one that could create a prolonged collapse.
The scope and speed of this downturn are without modern precedent, significantly worse than any recession since World War II. We are seeing a severe decline in economic activity and employment, and already the job gains of the last decade have been erased.
Jerome Powell urged political leaders to act in hopes of preventing further damage. U.S. markets appeared to respond to the message, with the Dow Jones closing down more than 515 points today. Both the NASDAQ and S&P 500 saw decreases as well. As
we mentioned a minute ago, Alabama is now closing in on 11,000 confirmed cases. That has grown exponentially in the past 8 weeks. On March 11th, Alabama was only reporting 3 cases. The figure is part of data released by the state's Department of Public Health. The information also shows more than 1,300 people have been hospitalized in the state since mid-March. More than 475 ended up in the ICU, with close to 285 in need of a ventilator. The death toll in Alabama stands at around 450 this evening. And when looking at the county-by-county numbers, 8 of Alabama's 67 counties are reporting deaths in double digits. But nearly twice as many are still reporting 0 deaths from COVID-19. That includes several in central Alabama, including Blount, Coleman, and Walker counties.
More than 136,000 COVID-19 tests have been run across the state of Alabama. Capabilities continue to increase, with a new testing site opening up at Legion Field tomorrow. WVTM 13's Lisa Crane shows us how this one is different.
Testing begins here at 9 in the morning. It is by appointment only, and it's open to anyone in Jefferson County. You don't have to be symptomatic. City and community leaders made the announcement today. Here's how it'll work. You come to Legion Field at your allotted time. Then you'll drive into the stadium. A medical professional will test you in your vehicle, and you'll be notified of your test results, whether it's positive or negative. This is an effort to get more people tested.
We know right now in the county we've tested about 3.6% of the population. We need to do a lot more. We want more people to come. Everybody needs to know what their status is.
This test is absolutely free for those with no insurance, and for those who are insured, there is no out-of-pocket cost. In Birmingham, Lisa Crane, WVTM 13.
To make an appointment, call 205-92-COVID. That's 205-922-6843.
Alabama Regional Medical Services opened a drive-through testing site this morning in North Birmingham. It is appointment-based, with organizers hoping it can help test some of the city's more at-risk population. According to the CDC, that includes older Americans and those with underlying medical conditions.
The overall goal is to reduce the spread of the disease throughout our community and to open up our community.
Organizers say they were able to test up to 30 people today, but they hope to continue adding to that figure in the next week. We're told Alabama Regional Medical Service can also test people inside their facilities around the city. Well, UAB's mobile testing unit is another place people can turn to for a test. It'll be at the Titusville Living Church Ministries this Friday from 1 to 3 in the afternoon. Those wanting a test will need an appointment.
UAB Hospital continues to treat a few dozen COVID-19 patients in-house. As of this morning, staff say they have 45 people battling the illness. The hospital also revealed it recently started treating 3 patients with convalescent plasma or antibody-rich blood plasma from people who've already recovered from coronavirus. The effort is part of an expanded clinical trial by the Mayo Clinic. Doctors say people getting the treatment could see benefits within 3 days. So exactly how do antibodies potentially help fight off COVID-19? They're proteins in your blood that attach to viruses. They limit infection and alert the white blood cells in your body to attack and ultimately eliminate the virus. Sometimes, if your body encounters the same virus, leftover antibodies can fight off the virus or create more antibodies to get your job done. At this time, researchers aren't sure why this process works well with some virus and not others. It could be exposure to new strains of an illness, such as the common cold or flu. When it comes to COVID-19, depending when someone was infected, finding antibodies could be hit or miss.
Well, 1 in every 365 African Americans suffers from sickle cell disease, and it affects the way red blood cells travel to vital organs in the body. There is no cure, but blood transfusions are a crucial part of therapy. As WVTM 13's Jeff Eliasoff tells us, the need for specific donors has reached an emergency stage.
The vast majority of those afflicted with sickle cell disease are African American, and the best blood matches come from the same community. So,
right now, African American blood donors are critically needed.
Ronika McFall of the American Red Cross, Alabama and Mississippi region says the coronavirus caused a crisis within the crisis.
Unfortunately, since mid-March, we have seen the number of African American donors drop more than half due to blood drive cancellations at businesses, churches, and schools.
It could be many months before those traditional sources of blood drives can be up and running again. But those in need of transfusions can't wait. Without a steady blood supply,
sickle cell patients can experience severe pain, tissue and organ damage, acute anemia, and even strokes.
And in the midst of the pandemic, sickle cell patients are at a high risk of serious complications from the coronavirus.
And blood transfusion can be the life-saving treatment for these patients.
So it's a call to arms, your arms.
You can donate safely every 56 days, and your blood donation and appointment will be needed throughout this entire pandemic.
The Red Cross assures that every guideline for distancing and sterilization is followed to the letter to protect donors and the blood supply. In Vestavia Hills, Jeff Eliasoff, WVTM 13.
The need for African American donors is critical, but all donations are welcomed. For more information about where you can donate or even host your own Red Cross supervised blood drive, go to the WVTM 13 app.
We've seen the shows of support through the sky. Now frontline workers are getting the same thanks from the ground. Today, the Birmingham Fire and Rescue Service started what it's calling a Heroes Tour. The plan recognizes the people who support the efforts of these first responders, especially those who may not be recognized often. This afternoon, the tour went by UAB and children's hospitals. Other stops include the VA and St. Vincent's East. We continue to recognize nurses helping people across central Alabama. That includes Crystal Pierce. She works at Princeton Hospital. Also, Claudia Nelson. She's a nurse at a long-term care facility. The person who sent us her picture says Nelson's proven not all heroes wear capes. 1 week was not long enough to thank these frontline heroes, so keep sending us your pictures or video. Simply email it to WVTM13@WVTM.com.
Well, in recent weeks, we've also recognized some of the area's high school seniors, and now many of them are getting ready to graduate virtually. So these seniors, they have another option as well, as LeBron James hosts Graduate Together, a national event to honor the class of 2020. It's this Saturday night. President Barack Obama will give the commencement, and Guy and myself will also have a message for our special seniors. Again, that's Saturday, 7 o'clock right here on WVTM 13.
And tune in tomorrow as a Tuscaloosa father and daughter duo are recognized for their unique take on prom. Haley Bibbs will be featured on The Kelly Clarkson Show, which you can only see right here on WVTM 13 starting at noon.
Happening now, the push continues for Alabama residents to respond to the 2020 census. Official efforts around the once-a-decade event are currently on hold due to the pandemic, but you can still fill out your census form. It can be done online, by the phone, or through the mail. Census data, it helps determine congressional representation. And Alabama is one of a few states at risk of losing a seat. Congresswoman Terry Sewell addressed the issue today, as well as other funding our state could lose out on.
And everything that we care about, these essential services like Community Kitchens of Birmingham, like our transportation, our education, our health care, the ability to have roads and bridges, all of that depends upon federal funds, and those federal funds are distributed based on population.
Two of Central Alabama's Republican representatives have taken to Twitter to also ask people to fill out their census form. Right now, Alabama's fallen a little behind the national self-response rate of nearly 59%.
Taking a look at traffic conditions across the Birmingham Metro right now, still looking pretty good in most spots. That one issue, though, on 280 outbound that we told you